She danced with stars beneath the desert moon, a whisper in the dunes, a wild tune. But honor is a flame that does not bend. She crossed the line and met the end. He watched from throne, a father's pride, now shaken like the shifting tide. His eyes were stone, his voice the law. He saw the truth, and what he saw was not the girl he raised with care, but windswept dreams and reckless dare. He didn't strike with sword or hand, just turned his gaze to silent sand. And in that silence she did fall, for love unblessed against the wall, for love unblessed against the wall. The desert mourned in hushed despair, her footsteps faded in the air. She bears the mark not on her skin, but deep within where storms begin. Forgiveness waits, a distant shore, until her soul defies no more. She wandered far beyond the clan, where palm trees whispered of the man whose shadow fell like mountain high. A father's love turned silent sky. She wore no crown, yet once she did, before her truth was softly hid. Her heart a falcon torn from flight, now clipped by judgment's heavy night. He raised her strong, with sword and smile, with words like rivers, pure of guile. But stars don't heed the shepherd's call when passion writes its rise and fall. He warned her once with eyes like flame, a daughter, love must wear a name. But she, the wind's own secret bride, fell into arms the tribe denied. No whip was drawn, no cell was shut, but silence deeper than a cut was cast between their blood and skin. A gulf of pride she couldn't win. In golden halls she walks alone, surrounded yet forever lone. The songs they sang are quiet now. The moon has vanished from her brow. The horses know, the falcons sense the shift in air, the truth so tense. For punishment is not a blow, it's absence where love used to grow. Still in the east the sun will rise, and fathers' hearts are slow but wise. Perhaps one night the tent will glow with fire and peace and hearts that know that even stars can lose their way, yet find their home at break of day. In silence, once a heavy wall might turn to song, forgiving all. She sat by wells where stories slept. In every tale the old ones kept reminded her of younger days, of sandalwood and father's praise. His hand once taught her bow and rein, to ride the storm, to brave the pain. She was his pride, his wildest flame. Now only silence spoke her name. The tribe moved on, as tribes will do, but hearts don't march. They break in two. She wore her shame like desert cloth, each thread a truth, each truth an oath. Yet time, the healer, slow and wise, brushed stardust back into her sky. And in the tent of memory's flame, she called him softly by his name. She sent no falcon, wrote no scroll, but prayed each night with humbled soul. She carved his name in palmwood bark and lit a flame against the dark. One day beneath the tamar tree, where fathers sit and eagles flee, he came alone, without his men, a desert king, yet jester then. He spoke not first, nor did she stand, but wept into his weathered hand. No need for words, no grand decree, just heart to heart in symmetry. He said, you fell and I stood far, but love does not forget a star. You broke the rule, but not my care. You left the tent, but not my prayer. She bowed her head, and he his own, two shadows meeting flesh and bone. And in the stillness, fate did bend, the silence broke. The hearts could mend. The sands had shifted, time had passed, the storm had calmed, the die was cast. She stood once more where she was born, the desert sun, her soul reborn. Her eyes, once dim with silent grief, now sparkled with a quiet belief. For though the road was long and rough, her heart, like desert winds, was tough. She stood before the gathering, the tribe, the elders, all were seeing, not the lost girl, but the new fire, a woman strong who'd climbed the wire. And in her dreams she saw him stand, his face like desert, wide and grand. He would not speak, nor need to say, for all was known in hearts that lay. As seasons turned, the land did change, but deep within, her heart stayed strange. For though she ruled with hand so firm, the desert's voice still made her squirm. It spoke in whispers on the breeze, in shifting dunes and ancient trees. Her legacy was etched in gold, but it was stories yet untold. Her children, grown, now took their place, and saw in her a noble grace. They asked her tales of how she fought, and how her heart had healed, not sought. She smiled and shared the trials deep of how she learned through pain to leap. For in the desert's fiery light, she found her strength in darkest night. But there were times and quiet hours when silence filled her heart with flowers. For still her father's voice would rise, a specter seen through tear-filled eyes. He taught her once that strength was earned, that every scar was just a turn in a wheel that spun with fate, and every loss a lover's weight. And so she stood, a queen of sands, yet in her chest, two hearts, two hands. One held the reins, the other flame, both part of her, yet never the same. Her people saw her walk with pride, a woman who could not divide her love from duty, heart from law, a daughter's bond, her father's raw. And in the depths of desert night, the winds would whisper, soft and light, her spirit lives like stars above, her father's legacy, her love. The moon so bright would cast its glow upon the land, both fast and slow. And there, beneath its silver arc, she found her place, she made her mark. The sands would shift, the winds would cry, but she had learned to never lie. Her heart was free, her soul was clear, and in that truth she had no fear. The desert stretched beneath her feet, a canvas vast, both harsh and sweet. Her life, a thread in endless loom, full of stories bright, dispelled the gloom. Her children now, with strength and might, had learned the ways of desert light. They knew her heart, they knew her fight. They understood the endless night. She walked beside them hand in hand and felt the pulse of ancient land. And each step she took, they took as well, for in their hearts her stories swell. Her father's voice, so soft, so deep, still echoed through the dunes asleep. No longer was it filled with pain, but wisdom's song, a sweet refrain. For now she saw, through tear-filled eyes, that love, once lost, could never die. It only changed, and in its form became the wind, the sun, the storm. Her legacy not built in stone, but in the hearts of those she'd grown. She led with grace, with heart, with fire. Now pass the torch to those who tire and rest beneath the desert sky. As generations rise and die, she knelt one last time on the sands and whispered softly through her hands, Father, I have learned to be a woman strong and wild and free. And in that moment, there she stood, the circle closed, the heart now good. Her father's strength had shaped her soul, and in his silence made her whole. The wind that swept the desert wide now carried peace with every stride. The sand would shift, the stars would burn, but she had found her place, her turn. And as the night turned into day, she knew her story would not stray. For in the heart of every child, her spirit lived both fierce and mild. The desert winds had softened now, and time with grace had worn her Yet in her eyes there burned a flame, a steady glow, a quiet claim. Her people knew the weight she'd borne, the battles fought, the love she'd worn. She was the river, strong and wide, the endless tide, the shifting guide. Her children walked the path she'd made, each step she took, their hands were laid, and in their hearts her name would stay, a beacon shining night and day.